There are moments when silence speaks louder than any apology. There are people who walk away with your trust, your innocence, your peace, and never look back. You wait for an explanation that never comes. You imagine the perfect confrontation, the heartfelt apology, the truth finally exposed. But it doesn't happen because some conversations you'll never have. This is for anyone carrying invisible wounds, for anyone still haunted by words left unsaid. Let's talk about the things we don't get to say and why closure isn't always something we receive, but something we must create. You've probably had one of these people in your life, a parent who made you feel like love had conditions, a partner who disappeared without explanation, a friend who used your vulnerability as gossip, a relative who violated your trust, a boss who crushed your confidence, or a person who emotionally manipulated you and walked away like nothing happened. And you were left holding a bag of confusion, pain, questions, and resentment. You imagined the conversation 1,000 times. Why did you treat me that way? Did I ever mean anything to you? How can you act like nothing happened? You broke me, and you never even noticed. But these conversations don't come, not because you don't deserve them, but because the people who hurt you either don't have the emotional maturity to own their actions, don't see their behavior as hurtful, or, worst of all, simply don't care enough. That's a brutal truth, but it's one that sets you free. We grow up on stories that glorify confrontation, redemption, and heartfelt apologies. We watch characters finally stand up to their abusers. We hear dramatic monologues ending in tears and healing. We wait for our own movie scene, the one where they realize what they did, where they say, "I'm sorry, you didn't deserve that." But real life is messier. It's quieter. It's more often than not. It's painfully uneventful. The apologies don't come. The truth doesn't surface. The person moves on, sometimes thriving, laughing, acting untouched by the damage they caused. And that's when the anger kicks in. You want to scream, "How do they get to live peacefully while I'm still healing?" You want justice, closure, clarity. You want that conversation not because it will fix everything, but because you feel like you need it to move on. But here's what no one tells you. Closure is rarely given. It is almost always created. Let's talk about this idea of closure. The clean break, the perfect ending, the satisfying explanation. It sounds ideal, but it's often just another form of hope. A hope that the person who hurt you has grown enough to see their mistake, cares enough to acknowledge it, respects you enough to offer peace. But some people aren't capable of that level of self-reflection. Some people avoid accountability like a plague. Some people would rather rewrite the narrative than admit they were wrong. And so your healing can't be dependent on someone else's awakening. Your peace can't wait for their confession. The closure you really need is internal. It's saying, I may never get an apology, but I still deserve peace. I may never understand why, but I can choose to stop needing answers to heal. I let go, Not for them, but for me. Let's give voice to those unsaid things, those words that never found their place too. The parent who failed you. You were supposed to protect me. But instead, I spent my childhood learning how to survive your moods, your criticism, your absence. I kept thinking if I was good enough, you'd finally show me warmth. But that day never came, and now I've learned that your failures weren't my fault. To the friend who betrayed you, I trusted you with my story, and you used it like a weapon. You laughed behind my back. It chose popularity over loyalty. And what hurts most is, I still miss who I thought you were. To the ex who left without explanation, you disappeared like I never mattered. Not a word, not a reason, just silence. And I tortured myself with every what if. But I've come to realize when someone leaves you confused, they were never clear in their own heart to begin with. To the one who abused your kindness, I kept showing up, kept forgiving. I thought love meant sacrifice, even when it was one-sided. But I see now, I was loyal to someone who saw me as replaceable. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just done. These are the conversations that haunt us. But here's the truth. They don't need to be heard by them. They need to be spoken by you, for you. There's something liberating that happens when you accept. They may never acknowledge what they did, and I'll be okay anyway. Because healing doesn't require them. Growth doesn't require permission. Your story moves forward with or without their chapter being resolved. You stop replaying the pain. You stop scripting imaginary arguments. You stop rehearsing revenge or imagining their regret. And instead, you start writing your next chapter. One, where you set boundaries with strength. Surround yourself with people who reciprocate. Speak kindly to yourself. Forgive. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Let's be clear. Accepting what happened is not the same as saying it was okay. You're not letting them off the hook. You're just refusing to stay chained to what they did. You don't have to deny your hurt. You don't have to pretend it didn't affect you, but you can choose not to carry it every day. They may never apologize. They may never change. That's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is you, your healing, your peace, your future. The real conversation is with yourself. What did I learn from this pain? How can I protect my peace moving forward? What parts of me still need love from me? Am I ready to stop waiting for closure and start living in wholeness? The people who hurt you don't need to hear your story for it to matter. You are not crazy. You are not overreacting. You are not weak for still feeling it. But now, you can choose to stop giving their absence power over your presence. You can say, I may never get the conversation I wanted, but I will give myself the healing I need. Sometimes, healing begins when you stop chasing ghosts. When you stop needing their words to validate your pain. When you look in the mirror and say, you were hurt, you survived, you are healing, and you are enough with or without their apology. These are the conversations you'll never have. But that's okay, because the most powerful words are the ones you tell yourself. So today, let the silence speak. Not as a wound, but as a declaration of peace.